What's happening?
Why have I turned into Dr. Manhattan?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about the wave of Dr. Manhattans that just rocked the U.S.
That's actually where the Blue Man Group came from.
Hello and welcome to Talk Spooky to Me, the Ghost Story Guys mail show. I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestall.
And this is our opportunity to hear from you, our audience. Paul Bestall, my friend, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Very well. Rubbing my hands, awaiting our next heat wave. It's all good. And a storm to start the week. Seems to have brought some lovely weather in its tail, shall we say. So yes, onwards.
Fabulous. Well, I'll tell the full story on our Patreon Extra, but there is something that you have encouraged me to do for a while now that I finally took the plunge on, which is getting my back waxed.
Good for you.
Now, I didn't do the full suite of services that you recommended. I am never going to let a stranger at those parts of me with wax or without.
If you're paying for it, at least you know what you're getting.
I admire this, however. So I went yesterday. I went to, I think it's Becky's Wax Room. And I'll save, like I said, I'll save most of the story for the patron bonus, although I will say, ouch. However, the thing that actually struck me was, because of course it did, this experience involved a synchronicity. So I picked this place more or less at random. I looked on Reddit to see what was local, who worked with men, and, who was not going to fuck it up. So I booked this place, knew nothing about it going in. Talking to Becky, I found out that her sister, at least at one time, lived in Victoria and worked graveyards at the Denny's that we always used to go to. So there is a very strong chance I have bought midnight coffee from her sister. Yeah, it's just an insane coincidence to have line up while someone is just forcibly tearing all the considerable amounts of hair out of your back. What I will say is, after the first one, she said, "Hey, do you want the stress ball?" Uh-huh.
No.
Oh, no, I took that shit, yo. I took that shit.
I think that my first professional one, they were trying to make me cry, I think. And they seemed to get quite annoyed and gave up after about 5 minutes that I wasn't, crying.
They didn't know who they were dealing with.
They didn't know. He talked to a bloke that used to wax his legs to play football when he was a kid.
Oh. Just fucking the bane of body waxing. Born into the dark, molded by it.
Never had my chest done. That might be a different kettle of fish. But back and legs, yeah. Because you had to when you played sport a lot. Because, waxing your legs is painful first 2 or 3 times you do it. And then what you learn very quickly is having a hair stitched into the inside of you, if you slice your leg open playing football or something, is far more painful.
Jesus Christ. So
yeah, wax it, and it gives you a few milliseconds of extra pace.
Aerodynamics with Paul Bestall. We can add this into your fridge tipping show, and this will be be a whole science with Paul, but mostly again around criminal mischief. Anyways. Of course, this is a show where we answer a listener mail, and boy, do we have a bunch of that for you folks, so let's get to it.
Our courteous and efficient staff is on call 24 hours a day to serve all your supernatural elimination needs.
We're ready to believe you!
All right. Our first message for today comes from Zach. Zach says, "Hey, Bren and Paul."
Hey.
"First things first, I love the podcast and have caught up on every single episode. You guys helped me keep my sanity through the pandemic when I found you in November of 2020. I wrote Brennan a few years ago about a shadow figure I saw in my hometown. The reason why I'm writing you now is because in late 2023 I lost my grandmother to dementia, and it shook my whole life. I'm very sorry to hear that, Zach. After going and making sure she was truly gone, I was her primary caregiver, I went home and wept. Late that night, I remember that as I was about to fall asleep, I felt something sit down at the foot of my bed and tap my leg like she did to wake me up when I was a kid. I jumped up and looked, expecting her to be there, and it broke my heart seeing my room empty. When I woke up, I thought about my experience, and it clicked. She was coming by one last time to say goodbye, since I wasn't able to be there during her last few moments. I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Have a great day, and I can't wait to hear more about the terrible concerts Paul has been to." Zach, again, first off, just sorry to hear about your grandma. I know it's a couple of years ago now, but that's still, time doesn't make it all go away necessarily. And also it just sounds really lovely. It just, sounds like her coming to say goodbye. I think you're absolutely right. And I think we've talked many, many times on the show about how sometimes the visitation we want isn't necessarily the visitation we get, but what's important is that we get something. And that kind of it's like life. You don't always get the things you want, but if you look hard enough, you can find, I was going to do the Rolling Stones thing, but the thing you need.
Absolutely. And that is a prime example of it, because that was intrinsically linked to your grandma's. And so you knew straight away what that represented and what that was. And that's why she did it.
Again, it's a nice way to say goodbye, or at least goodbye for now.
Clearly it mattered, Zach, or she wouldn't have come to say goodbye, mate. So you should cherish that, my friend.
So, Zach, thanks for listening all this time, and we're thrilled to have you, and you take care of yourself.
Next, June drops us a line and says, "Hi, Brennan and Paul. You said something on a couple of episodes now, and it has resonated with me each time. You can say anything you want. The most blank in blank. Most haunted castle in England. Most possessed doll in the southern USA. The highest concentration of skinwalkers in Canada. Who is going to verify this? You can say anything, and most of the time the average person is just going with it, without too much pushback, right? My mum, now long retired, used to work as a housekeeper, predominantly in the affluent little city of White Rock, British Columbia. It's a tourist beach town right on the Pacific Ocean, and the population was filled with NIMBYs. That's the yes, we need such and such amenities or facilities, but not in my backyard kind of folk. My mum usually gained new clients by her established clients referring her to her friends. One such new client was a young couple who'd bought the trendy bar and grill right on the beachfront called the Washington Avenue Grill, or WAG for short. The building was constructed in 1913 to be a lumber mill, but changed its identity over the years. It appears like a large house painted in funky yellow with a Statue of Liberty and a Canucks jersey on the second floor balcony. The restaurant is on the second floor, whilst a tattoo parlour occupies part of the first floor. For the most part, from what my mum told me, I liked this couple. They were kind and respectful to my mum, and they thumbed their nose at the White Rock City Council by even allowing the tattoo parlour to operate at the WAG. Tattoo parlours were forbidden in White Rock. But because the WAG was on the Semahu Indian Reserve, they were exempt. The one thing I didn't like about them was that they decided to make the WAG haunted. That's right, they confided to my mum that they had created and promoted some fake ghostly happenings in the old building to gain some free publicity. Unsurprisingly, the story about the ghostly sightings came out during the month of October, when the local newspaper was looking to fill an article with seasonal stories. And it snowballed from there. More and more people started to report on the sightings, and it soon started appearing in official tourism websites, ghost guide publications and beyond. Any keyword search of the Washington Avenue Grill haunting will bring up numerous stories from past workers and guests. A bit of brilliant strategy, right? Create and share a single ghost encounter and let the imaginations of others build and add for free to that story. So then, have all these people actually reported something since? Has it been their imagination? Or did their stories actually manifest something? I don't know, but it circles back to what you've been saying. You can say anything you want. The most cursed temple in Asia, the hairiest back in Ontario, or the most haunted restaurant in White Rock, British Columbia. Cheers, June.
So, June, as to your question, it's hard to say. I mean, I've heard of this before. I know the library in Revelstoke, they invented a ghost as well. And, of course, the very well-dressed couple who are on TV all the time? Newkirks. Was it them who did the Philip experiment?
No, they didn't do Philip. Was Philip done in Canada?
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
They based their experiment on the Philip experiment.
On the Philip experiment. Yeah. Where someone basically created a haunting.
Yes.
And that's one of these big gray areas with this stuff, right? I mean, there does seem to be an element of co-creation to it. And so it's hard to know. Was creating these stories something that allowed people to sense what was actually already there? Or did it put an idea in their head, and did they sort of imagine experiences to kind of fit that? Did they sort of take real life, like normal stuff, and bend it a little bit to fit what they expected. Because, I mean, look at the Dybbuk box, right?
The what?
I mean, oh, no, we don't get to... That's sitting in a museum sucking money out of people, so we don't get to deny the existence of that one. But...
I do.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, it's bullshit, obviously.
I don't recognize that.
Yeah, no, it's bullshit. And again, we've discussed many times that the guy who originally put it up for sale, he created the whole story. He put the thing together himself. It's fake. But some of the people who've owned it they claim to have had experiences. And of course, you've got people who watched the fucker on television and claimed that, their cat started speaking in Russian. Obviously, it's not the Dybbuk box because it's not a real thing. So are they actually experiencing something?
No.
Or are they just... Yeah, no, I agree.
They're all lying.
So you think straight up lies, not misinterpreting, just straight up
bullshit.
Lies. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Straight up, no nonsense, rubbish.
Yeah.
You can't make a haunted thing.
Oh no, I agree completely. I think, but I do wonder if you get sometimes people who just misinterpret.
You may do, but the most stuff associated with the Dybbuk box is essentially a circle jerk of people trying to one up each other.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, Dybbuk boxes, that's all. Anything that fucker's associated with is, you could just wipe it off the table. Like, I've had a few people message me about the whole Annabelle doll thing, and I'm like, no, I don't care. It's all a show, it's all a huck, or it's all a shuck. I feel for the guy who died. That sucks. But other than that, no. Yeah, I don't think he was cursed by the doll. I think he's a grown man in a country where healthcare is hard to come by.
It's one of those things that people go, oh my God, it's shocking that somebody aged 54 has died. Yes, it is. But it doesn't happen that rarely. It's not an outlier.
No, that's it.
People die at any age. Yes, most of us these days live very healthy lives. Primarily, doctors won't like me saying this, primarily because diet and sanitation has improved dramatically. And that does more to keep people alive because we're not drinking water. Well, most people in Europe aren't. We are here in England. Most people aren't drinking water with shit in it these days, or all kinds of floating bacteria, and we're eating food that's not pumped full of additives and shit, and you've no idea where it came from and what it's been fed on, like happened here when we had the mad cows outbreak that was all down to farmers crushing up sheep that had died of scrapie and thinking that's a great thing to feed cows. What the fucking hell does that make sense? Oh no, all the cows have now got foot and mouth disease and now everybody might die. And we had to burn something like 15 million cows in this country. And that's only 25 years ago,
I remember the mad cow scare vividly.
Oh, it was great. Pyres of cows burning in fields. It was awful, all because of shitty regulations and people cutting corners. It's 2001, what the fuck are we doing? Like Lisa Marie Presley, everybody, oh my God, she's died. Her family has a history of heart problems, sadly.
Yeah. I got a friend of my family has a history of heart problems, and has a family history of heart problems, and keeps just pushing and grinding and grinding and grinding. And we all have tried telling him, hey, motherfucker, your dad died when he was younger than you because you guys have weak hearts. You have to slow down, because he did the same thing. He was just pushing, and kaboom. We'd like to have you around a little while longer. Maybe try not kaboom.
Yes. Life's for living, not working.
That's it. Life's for shoving guitars up people's asses.
And inventing ghost stories.
That's exactly it. That's a callback to the last episode, I just realized, even though we recorded the intro a few minutes ago. So that's
a great connection there. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, totally intentional. Not because I forgot we were recording 2 different episodes today.
That's okay. I think sometimes people look, oh, well, tulpas and all this and know next to nothing about Buddhism. Right? And they've read something about tulpas and they go, oh, right. That must be it.
Yeah.
And as with anything, they get very, it depends where they read about it, depends who they hear about it. They get a specific version of it. I don't think they're diving into Buddhist tracts to read up about how to create a tulpa. And so it becomes one of those catch-all explanations like doppelgangers, when most of the time people are talking about voyeurs and things. It's just one of those buzz terms that comes into fashion in the paranormal field, and this is the same kind of thing. And then people go, oh, well, look at Philip, look at the Skoll experiment, look at this, look at that, they did it, so that must be what's happening here. It may simply be a case that there was something going on there anyway. They've created a story that's dragged publicity towards it, and therefore it's now got agency. But as we've spoken before, I'm a big believer that a lot of the paranormal is some kind of energy release of some level. How that manifests and where and why and what, I don't know. And so I think when you push energy, or I don't know, maybe you create an invitation to it, that it allows it to start leaking in more. Not necessarily the fact that they've just made some shit up.
Yeah. And that's the better thought, right? Is that there's just a series of external factors which have now produced this effect, as opposed to, a bunch of people just jerking each other off and trying to make up stories. Yeah,
absolutely. And could be anything. It could be strange wiring they've got. It could have a faulty wiring in some equipment. When was the place last rewired? How long has the circuit board been in there for? Is it like from the 1950s? Because if anything, that's probably churning out all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, we got the bar here is made of pure uranium-231. We call it the dream bar. If you fall asleep on it, you don't wake up.
Yes. Well, I was watching a program, strangely enough, about the atomic bomb parties they used to have in Vegas in the 50s the other day.
Really? Okay, I need to know more.
So because the testing ground was like 50, 60 miles away from Vegas, what they started to do in the 50s, they'd have atomic bomb parties, and so the great and the glamorous would come and they'd have food and be entertained by cabaret and have drinks and whatever. And then just before dawn, they'd all go on the roof, face towards it, put the sunglasses on and watch a bomb go off and watch the mushroom cloud. It stopped pretty quickly when they suddenly discovered fallout.
You think?
Like, what is going on? I mean,
boys, why do my bones hurt?
Why can I see through my hand?
I close my eyes and I can still see. What's happening?
Why have I turned into Dr. Manhattan?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about the wave of Dr. Manhattans that just rocked the U.S.
That's actually where the Blue Man Group came from. So yeah, nothing surprises me, I mean, it's like the Japanese government have taken some soil from Fukushima recently, haven't they, and planted it at the Prime Minister's garden to try and convince people it's safe to live there now. Seen that?
Oh, interesting.
They've made loads of flower beds outside the Prime Minister's, which this guy's moved into the Prime Minister's house, which apparently is haunted, and one Japanese Prime Minister refused to live there. He said, no chance, I'm not living there, it's really haunted. And he wouldn't live there in the official residency.
Oh, fascinating.
So I'm not sure if the new guy is the first guy to live there for a while, but there's a history of the Prime Minister's house being haunted. So let's add some uranium to that. Irradiated soil.
Let's supercharge this fucker. Let's get a 13 ghost situation going.
Why not? Well, it can't be that bad. That guy's still living there who wouldn't leave, wouldn't he? There's a guy stayed behind in Fukushima and looked after all the animals that were left. Because everybody just fucked off and left all their pets. There's a very good documentary done about 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember his name, but he was just like, I couldn't go. It's like got all these dogs and cats and horses and stuff. Oh. People are just gone. I mean, to be fair, at the end of the day, you've got a tsunami coming for you, and the the nuclear power plant at the end of the street's just blowing up. I mean, you panic.
I don't judge them for that. I just feel for the animals.
But it's one of those amazing people that just thought, no, I can't go. And it's inspiring. Certainly, I wouldn't do that.
No, I'm not a strong enough person. Absolutely not.
Good for them. But so yes, it seems to be everywhere, irradiated soil at the moment.
The RMT I used to go to, she had a friend who worked for whatever the Nuclear Regulatory Board here in Canada is. But basically, when after Fukushima, there was a lot of misinformation about the spread of radioactive waste in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And Reddit was, or not Reddit, 4chan was really bad for that. They were producing all these disinformation graphics, which just portended horrible things. So this friend of hers, she basically worked for this agency, and it was her job to she was one of the people who monitored for these things. And I think she was brought on to talk on some news show at one point. And she said, no, we have not detected any harmful radiation in the Canadian waters. This is just not a thing that's happened. Because we got some of the debris washed up. Well, that's the thing. Again, I trust Kat trusts her. But this woman got death threats for coming on the news and saying like, hey, we don't have any record of, like, we're not detecting anything in our waters. And this woman got death threats for doing this. So people just lose their fucking minds. And like, I get it, radiation is scary.
We've been fine since Chernobyl here. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I think both our respective societies have suffered more damage from lead poisoning than radiation.
Yes. I mean, yeah, Chernobyl was a hell of a shitstorm, to be honest. And most of the fallout landed in mainland Europe. I mean, there we are. What is that? That'll be 40 years next year, that. Brilliant. The 80s. Yeah,
What a great time.
Brilliant.
Yeah, kids, if you want to know what the living in England in the 80s was like, just go watch Threads and then listen to Pink Floyd's The Final Cut record.
Whilst dressed as Jimmy Savile.
Maybe not that last part. That's a 28 years later reference, folks.
Hey, I'm down with the kids. Not like Jimmy. Thank you. Let's
Okay. I'm glad we got out ahead of that one. Ooh, oh man. All right. Well, we talked to our PR people to figure out how to come back from that one. We're going to take a quick break for some ads. All right, welcome back to Paul Fix It.
Fuck off.
All right, so where were we? Right, this is from Joel on Patreon. Joel says, like you, Paul, I too like to be under the stars watching the bats, stars, and satellites go over. During the hot summer nights, I generally sleep in a hammock outdoors. It's amazing what you see and hear that you would normally miss when tucked up indoors. Also good for resetting the circadian body clock.
Yeah.
I remember hearing as a kid that people in Revelstoke, they used to pull their, like, put a mattress out on the porch.
Strangely enough, once again, we saw something strange the other night outside.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you see?
We saw a red ball really high up. Checked it on the satellite tracker, wasn't that? It was really high up. And the thing that struck us as being strange was we didn't realise, we just thought, oh, it's probably a satellite, until it went zip, and it just shot down, and then it went back on itself, went up, and then it just started zipping about for about 5 minutes. Like a really tiny ball, red ball, really, really high up. But whilst we were watching this, we then had, because obviously the Pleiades meteor showers just started, and it was the first night, so it was last Wednesday, yeah, it was about a week ago. So as we were trying to watch this, we suddenly just saw poof, poof, two big flashes in the sky. It was two meteors. Pew! Amazing.
Cool.
Brilliant. Julie hadn't seen it before, because usually it's really cloudy when the Pleiades start. I mean, it lasts about a month here. Right. And most of the time it's really cloudy. I saw it once, I don't know, about 15 years ago out in the Peak District, and it was crystal clear. And because there's literally like 50 or 100 meteors an hour, 1 or 2 a minute. But we saw these, and they were just big, like phosphorus, just woo in the sky. It was amazing, brilliant. It's always been one of my favourite things. I don't understand why people are not mesmerised by the night sky. It's incredible.
Oh, it really is. Yeah, the night before I went back to Victoria, I went for a long drive in the country. And I saw the sunset and into night, and man, it was just magic. It was just the most beautiful thing. Like, I like living in cities. Boy, I would miss the wide open country.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, I remember being in Greece years ago, and we were on a beach, and it's the clearest I've ever been because there was absolutely no light pollution where we were.
Right.
Oh, it was like watching a painting. It was just, I was laid on the beach on my back for about an hour and a half. It was just seeing things I'd never seen before because of how clear it was. It was just beautiful, man.
Well, we were talking about 28 years later before the break, and I mean, that scene where they're running back to the compound at night and the stars are just lighting up the entire sky. That was one of the most incredible things. Like, I was kind of mixed on the film, but the imagery in it is I think iconic.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it just shows. I mean, strangely enough, the other day I accidentally caught a mini documentary on the BBC about the Dark Skies project that we've got going on.
Oh, okay. What's that?
It's removing light pollution. Light pollution currently in the world increases by about 5% a year. It's like it's a thing that nobody seems to be paying attention to. And so they've got a nature reserve in Wales where it's a designated dark skies protection area. So it's park. I can't remember which park it is. And so they're trying to encourage people to change their lighting, change the street lighting. So they're not saying we don't want any light. What they're saying is the new lighting is too bright. It's dangerous for our health, the health of animals and the health of plants. And so we need to go back to what we were using, or not. We don't need to illuminate everything all the time. And so there were this lady who's a designated dark skies coordinator for this particular area of Wales was going around and helping them retrofit everything and change their lights for the pubs and stuff, and changing the lamps used in the street lamps and stuff. It was fascinating. It was really good. And she was so passionate about it. It was really interesting. Far better than the usual crap they have on at 7 o'clock every night in the BBC. It was really interesting for a change.
I got to say, if this extends to headlights, I'm going to be one of the happiest men alive, because
kill you.
Oh, good Lord. Especially around here, because my car is essentially a go-kart, and the number of giant trucks whose headlights just happen to be right at the height of my rearview mirror. At this point, I'm wearing sunglasses at night just to try not to be blinded by these motherfuckers.
It's what Corey would have wanted.
I'm telling you.
He was ahead of the game.
So he saw the terrible dystopian future we live in.
He was probably a time traveler.
Tiny penises and giant trucks. There we go.
That's why he wrote Sunglasses at Night. It's about driving a car in 2025 in the world.
Corey, Hart, wherever you are, whatever planet you have journeyed to continue your interstellar adventures, please know that we appreciate you now.
Our next message is from May, who says, "Hi, Brennan and Paul. Love the show, been listening for years. Thanks for all that you do. Your voices in my ears have gotten me through many a dull work shift. Brennan, I heard you say that in particular you were getting more into video games, and I wanted to recommend one of the best horror games I've ever played. It's a visual novel, Southern Gothic mystery, except your dialogue choices actually do matter, called Scarlet Hollow. The game's not complete yet, but Chapter 5 is coming later this year, and I'm so excited for it. The entire first chapter is also free as a demo to try out. The writing is stellar, funny, scary, and grabs your interest straight away, and I've never been more frightened by sound design in a damn visual novel. I think you'll have a great time with it." Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it sure does. Thank you very much for the suggestion, May. I'm seeing it. It is on Steam here for about $30. So I will. There you go. Yeah. No, it's a PC game. I'll keep that in mind. I'm always looking for a new game.
They'll be worried about me. Steam. They'll say, "Why is he not downloading Football Manager? What's wrong with him?"
They're like those betting apps. You have a personal football concierge come and check on you.
I lost so many days to that game.
Really?
It's addictive.
Actually, my friend Tom is the same. He is. I think he's just finally shaken the habit. We were talking about. I just bought Elden Ring, and we were talking about how it can take anywhere. Like there are people with 1,000 hours logged into Elden Ring, and Tom's partner was saying, oh well, who the fuck who logs that much time into a game? And Tom opens his Steam account and he's like, I have more than 1,000 hours in a number of these games. And I thought, okay, fair. And I think Football Manager was one of them.
Oh yes, I worked once somewhere where someone was sacked because they uploaded it onto a server and people were playing it at work.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was really tempted and I thought, no, because I'm not going to get anything. Because I remember in the late 90s, I'd have a day off and I'd sit at my computer and I'd fire it up and then it would be 6 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be really annoyed that I'd lost 3-1 away at Bury and it would ruin my day.
Tom was like that. Tom, especially back when he was younger and he was playing FIFA.
Yeah.
He would, oh man, he'd lose a game and the controller would go flying,
Fucking game.
Yeah, I play low stress games. Right now I haven't really gotten fully into Elden Ring. I just bought it because it was on sale. But I was playing. I've played Doom: The Dark Ages, which is just run shoot, pretty simple stuff. There was a roguelike called Hades that I heard about on a podcast, and I picked that up, finished that, and now I'm gonna move it to Elden Ring. But in the meantime, I noticed on the Xbox sale there was a game which I'd heard about a long time ago. It's a 90s point and click adventure game, and I always wanted to play it. I just never got a chance. But now it's on Xbox, And it's based on the work of Harlan Ellison. It's called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Oh.
And the plot of the game is essentially that an AI supercomputer has killed the world, except for 5 people who it takes to the center of the earth so it can torture them forever. It's apparently very, very, obviously based on just the summary alone, you can imagine it's very grim. But like each character has their like levels that it puts them through, and it's all their greatest fears. And from what I understand, like this is not something you play if you're sensitive about subject. But if you're not sensitive about subject, I'm told it's one of the greatest adventure games of all time. So yeah, I have no mouth and I must scream. I just picked it up, and again, if anyone out there is a fan of classic adventure games and you're not sensitive about like really dark subject matter, this is a great opportunity to pick it up because it's one of the classics.
I don't think anything would be scarier than the baby crying constantly in Max Payne.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had anything in a game fuck me up. Like when I was younger, I bought System Shock 2, and as soon as I heard the sound of a zombie, I turned it off, uninstalled it, never played it again. But aside from that, I don't know that I've ever... Oh, that's not true. Resident Evil 7. That was another one I turned off because it was pants-shittingly scary.
I'm all right with the Resident Evil stuff. What's that? There's a guy who's famous for how scared he gets playing a game, and I don't even know the game he's playing, but it's like a horror game. And he's always shitting himself playing it. He's like, I'm not sure. Maybe some of the younger listeners will know what I'm talking about. There's a man who's got very famous, I think, either on Twitch or YouTube, uploading clips of himself shitting himself, dealing with these monsters in this game. It's like a haunted house horror game.
Oh, okay. I mean, there's good. If you can keep that performance up, people love that shit. So
it is quite funny watching him brick it.
I briefly was on Twitch a couple of, like back during the pandemic. I was playing Mafia 3, I think. And one of our listeners at the time, she would be at work. She operated heavy machinery. So she would like listen to me playing Mafia 3 on Twitch while she was operating this heavy machinery, which was always kind of funny. She would periodically like comment on stuff, type in comments in between jobs, which it was a very, very, very strange time. But I don't know if she still listens to the show. I don't think she does. But if you do, hello. And I remember that time.
They were the best of times. They were the worst of times.
Yeah, especially because I was playing Mafia 3. Jesus, what a boring game. That is a bait and switch. And we're going to get back to the letters here in a sec. But Mafia 3, the demo is 2 hours long. It's brilliant. So you play the demo. You think, oh, this is fucking great. You buy the game, and then you find out the demo is the best part of the game. Like
Horace Ghost skiing.
Exactly. That's comparison I was going to use. It was in my head.
There's no attic attack.
Next up is from Nat on Spotify regarding the Haunting of Toronto Redux. Nat says, the Airbnb thing, and of course on Haunting of Toronto, we talked about the problem with housing in Canada where Airbnb has driven up the cost of things because, things which should be on the rental market for people are being held for tourists. And of course, this has driven up the cost of everything. It's not the only thing driving up costs, but it's a big part of it. And this, of course, has only been exacerbated since we talked about this in 2023. But Nat says, so the Airbnb thing is such a hot topic where I live in the Scottish Highlands right now. The islands around us, the kids raised on the island can't stay on the island because they've been bought out by holiday homes. Someone I know tried to buy a family home near their mum and dad on the Isle of Harris. It ended up being £500,000 and bought by an elderly couple who live in New Zealand. They come to the house for a fortnight a year. Disgusting. And yeah, that's fucked up, Nat. It's gross. I hate it. I know there's going to be people who disagree with this, but I don't think you should be able to have investment properties or vacation properties in areas, in situations like that. I just think it like when I sold my house in Revelstoke, I actually took a little less money so I could sell it to someone I went to school with, because I would rather someone like local who's going to live there and like with their family get the place and make a life of it, and have someone who's going to turn it into an Airbnb or anything like that, And then they turned around and flipped it a year later for $100,000 more.
Bastards. Yeah, it's a big problem here, as is that fucking cat. Yeah, it's a big, massive problem. Cornwall, Wales, as mentioned in the message we've got there, Scotland, most coastal places. Cornwall's essential. I mean, basically, people who live in Cornwall can't afford to live there if they leave home. They can't.
Yeah, it's the same in Revelstoke.
It's atrocious. There's a real movement going on here in Britain about it. Like, loads of local councils are banning it. The residents are up in arms about it. It needs to be done, because, as with anything, things are being swallowed up by the rich, and it's destroying the bottom end of the market. People can't get on the housing ladder anymore. I mean, the housing prices around where I live are just absolutely ridiculous. The kind of prices that I would hear as a kid, I'd think you'd bought a palace. And you're selling a terraced house for £250,000. It's a fucking terraced house.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a garden big enough to swing a cat in, and you want £250,000 for it? Fuck off. What's going on?
Oh, yeah. No, honestly, one of the big arguments Nick and I had when we first got married was she was used to English housing prices. And so her idea had always been, and I don't know how it is we didn't talk about this. We talked about kids, everything else, but she thought, oh, we're going to go back to Victoria. We're going to buy a place. But I had to show her, like, we can't afford it. We just cannot afford it, because even back then, to buy a house was $600,000-$700,000, and now it's, you know, multiple millions to buy a house in Victoria. You know, and I was actually looking just now at rent. So when I moved out of Revelstoke, I had to rent my house out because I wanted to keep it in case I made a hash out of Victoria and I needed to run back home with my tail between my legs. So I was renting it out. I rented it out when I first moved for $800, and I barely found someone to take it. So I was renting it for, that would be $1,175 now for a house. Now, I did raise it after those people moved out. I put it up a little bit. I got a nice couple in there, $1,200. They stayed for a long time. Eventually, it was the heating costs that pushed them out. But that rent now, $1,200, would be according to the Canadian inflation calculator, would be about just under $1,800. So we'll say $1,800 for a whole house. A house in Revelstoke right now rents for $4,000.
What?
Yeah. 2 and a bit times what it should cost, according to inflation. But the market has just gone, because the ski hill went through and rich people started buying up all these homes. And so they've developed every square inch. And again, the price of everything has just skyrocketed. So like my mom and I were talking about my niece yesterday, and I said, you know, she's 15. She's not going to have to worry about moving out for a while, but where's she going to go? She can't stay in town because you can't afford an apartment. Like I paid $500 a month for my first apartment. Yeah, and it was huge. Like it was way too big for me. I was supposed to move into it with a friend. He backed out at the last minute, so I just lived there by myself. You're not going to find an apartment in Revelstoke now for less than $2,000, and that's a lot of fucking money. You know, especially in a town where most of the jobs are service industry. You know, like once upon a time, you work in, and again, folks, we'll get out of this in a sec, but like once upon a time, you were making. I had a friend who used to work for the railroad. When he got on with the railroad in 2004, he was making $36 a year just to start. That was like, that made you a catch in the Revelstoke dating pool. Like there was a woman who immediately latched onto him like a remora and was just like, we should buy a trailer and we should have a kid. And now $36 a year, good fucking luck. Just stay living in your parents' basement. All right. Well, yeah. So, Nat, thank you for sharing that. Again, I always love bitching about the cost of living because I think it's a real problem that our governments, all governments, are failing to respond to in any meaningful way. And it's one of those things, too, where it's a hard fix because you essentially have to tell people you don't get to make as much money as you think you should be able to. And that is like so counter to everything we believe in right now, that any prospective government that floats something like that is going to get destroyed. You cannot do it. And this is why, like, I know a lot of the populists right now, again, regardless of country, they're banging on the affordability crisis, but they don't give a shit about fixing it. They just know that this is what people want to hear. And because they know there's no single solution, and they know that the people who will vote them into the office, people who have money, aren't ever going to let them make the comprehensive changes that would need to be made in order to fix that problem.
Yeah, you say it's root and branch. At the end of the day, it's the working classes of countries that keep everything moving, and it's those people that need to be protected.
Amen to that.
Our final message is from Sharif via our website. I'm going through the back catalogue of GSG content for possibly the 5th or maybe 6th time. This time, though, I'm starting from January 2020 as the chemistry between Brennan and Paul is just infectious. Who needs ghost stories? Just, well, be careful what you wish for. Just give me the full unedited conversation you two are having. Yes, very, very careful. It's so wonderfully rich in knowledge, humour, and an amazingly comprehensive history of seemingly everything, paranormal or not. Very much not. But most importantly, it's reassuring. Hearing the two of you banter is like being in the company of a pair of my best friends, where I'm happy to just sit back and absorb the conversation. Recently, I started listening to Welcome to the Pleasure Dome album by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I'm a child of the 80s, and I remember being blown away when I first heard Relax and Two Tribes back in 85. Sonically, I'd never heard anything so amazing, but I'd never heard the full album till now, 40 years later. Oh my god, Paul's right, the album is still mind-blowing decades later. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome is a gorgeous song. Between the fascism in the US where I live and the absolute gutting of my industry, making it even harder to make a living, my mental state has been in the toilet, despite regular therapy. What finally gave me strength to pick myself up again and strengthen my resolve with DS, listening to this amazing album, and another 80s favourite of mine, There's Too Much Blue in Missing You by Modern Talking. Ha! Now there's a band I can go on about, my God. I've hit a limit where I feel like therapy isn't helping. I'm tired of talking about my emotions. People need help. They need therapy, but I'm tired of talking about my emotions. I need to suck it up, shove my sadness deep down, and do what I need to do, being the best at my job for my family. The world doesn't care if I've got trauma, they want results. Thanks to both of you for giving me the resolve to keep fighting in the face of so much world-destroying selfishness and greed. I promised myself that I would never become like that, but I will help create an environment where those who have been traumatised can heal. Take care. Man, I love Modern Talking.
So before we get to Modern Talking, I just want to say, Sharif, man, I feel you. Like, obviously we were just talking about cost of living stuff here, but I will say, try not to shove those emotions down too far, man. It's okay to keep in touch with that stuff while still processing everything. Because the problem is, I'm a firm believer that if you shove that shit too far down, eventually that turns into real bad illness. So I think you gotta, even though it hurts, you gotta stay in touch with that part of yourself.
Always. Because if you don't, it'll erupt like a volcano when you least expect it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's sort of interesting that, I guess it's just, this is everywhere. Like, everyone's dealing with this. Doesn't matter if you're in Scotland or if you're in the US or wherever, just cost of living shit is just, and like everyone's industry is being just broken down is such a worldwide phenomenon right now.
So yeah, you a big Modern Talking fan, are you?
I'm not familiar with Modern Talking at all.
I'm going to tell you an amazing stat about Modern Talking.
Hit me.
They were the biggest selling German band of the 1980s.
Really?
Oh, you're in for a treat here, mate.
All right.
Brother Louie was their smash Euro hit. 1986 was number one in like 13 countries across Europe. Tell you, you've never seen a man with so much tan.
I gotta say, the voice is not what I expected looking at the guy.
Brother Louie, Louie, Louie.
The first one that came up was You're My Heart, You're My Soul.
Banger.
Yeah, the one guy looks like Woody Harrelson in like a sweater vest.
The guitarist?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big unit, him, isn't he?
Yeah, he really does. He looks like he looks like Joel McHale combined with Cheers era Woody Harrelson. And
they're still going.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They sold an incredible amount of records in the 1980s. Incredible amount. I think they were like number one in Italy for 73 years or something like that. They're one of those great bands that I love from Europe in the 80s who were massive, and they had like one hit in Britain, or maybe two or three.
Interesting.
Because we just didn't get that cross-channel chart information. We never heard it. So the only time you'd ever hear European music is if you went on holiday. So it all depended when you went on holiday. And then what happened was people would either buy a single abroad and bring it home, or people had just harassed DJs in the nightclubs and discos and say, have you got this, have you got that? And eventually, occasionally, you'd get something that would then be a hit here about 2 months later. And they're one of those songs. I missed that era because I used to love the surprise hits from Europe, because sometimes you'd be like, what the fuck is this? But it used to happen all the time. I mean, Voyage, Voyage, which is probably my favourite European dance song of the 80s, was one of them. Bombed the first time, was a massive hit in Europe, and then got remixed and re-released in the UK and was a hit the year after.
Okay.
And amazing. I don't understand most of the lyrics because it's in French, and I will sing along with it, and I make no fucking sense other than the chorus.
Before Lyrics Genius, that's what we all did, man. We just made shit up. There used to be a site called kissthisguy.com where people would submit their misunderstandings of popular lyrics, and that comes from Purple Haze, where he says, "Excuse me while I kiss the sky," and it started originally as someone thought it was "Excuse me while I kiss this guy."
Whoa, Jimmy was way ahead of the curve, man.
That's right.
But yes, they were a great band, and like I said, that's the one thing I only found that out about 4 years ago, that they were the biggest selling German band of the 80s. Because we were about, who's the biggest selling? You would obviously think, well, it's Kraftwerk, surely. No, it wasn't, and not by a long way either. You know, you're talking 30, 40 million records, I think they sold.
Jesus Christ.
They were massive, which they had to be to pay for his tan bill.
I was going to say, that is an impressive amount of tan.
It's unbelievable. It's lovely long black hair. And I'm delighted they're still going, 40 years on. Brilliant. Good for them.
That is uncommon.
Yeah. And still it's not that kind of thing where one's at one side of the stage and one's at the other. Like Journey.
Journey, we're looking at you.
Yeah.
Well, Sharif, we hope you've enjoyed this completely non-ghost related conversation. It's funny, obviously the show is the show, right? We love to tell ghost stories on the other show, but yeah, I mean, I like the talk. I mean, the ghost stories are fun, but after 9 years, it takes a lot to really interest me in like a particular ghost story. It takes like something really unique or really well told to hook me. I've said this before, it's kind of hard to get excited about like footsteps.
You mean Womack and Womack footsteps now? Are we not talking about 80s music anymore?
Nope, this is like the Wayne's World 2 joke that I got from the show.
On the dance floor.
Nope.
All right, mate.
I mean, I wish I had been referring to that,
yeah,
but
what a tune.
I'll say. I just like the Paul. I'm quite happy with the Paul Bessel version.
I don't do it justice, not like the Womacks. A great song.
I will check it out.
Yeah, I think sometimes the thing with the joy we have is that the stories we have shared with us are not the run-of-the-mill, bog standard, oh, there's a funny noise upstairs, it's probably a ghost. I was in a pub and my pint glass exploded. Ah, that will be the poltergeist of the murdered slave girl who was tied in the basement that we can't find any evidence for. But this paranormal psychic told us.
No, that's it. We're lucky enough that we get stories with a lot of heart.
Yes.
And that's honestly, that's the thing that keeps me coming back to this, right? Is like, I mean, we get to tell stories with heart, we get to have fun and have a laugh. And like, I always tell people when they listen to the show, like start from 2021. Like I always maybe start with a new show because I was pretty fucked up in the early part of 2021, but like, it's just, it's such a positive, happy show now. And a little bit filthy, which is, I think reflective of both our personalities.
Speak for yourself. You dirty bugger.
Sure thing, Graveyard Paul.
Hey!
All right. Thanks, as always, to everyone who sent in their messages, your comments, your questions. Keep doing that. We love reading them. We love reading them out on this show. And you can send those to us at ghoststoryguys@gmail.com. You can also do it via Instagram. We are The Ghost Story Guys. You can post things on Reddit. We're at r/Ghost Story Guys Podcast. And we're on Facebook as The Ghost Story Guys. Finally made a group. It's a private group now, so you can post your nude photo. No, I'm kidding. You can post your stories in a safe environment where you're not going to be judged. Don't do the other thing. Paul keeps doing that. I keep telling him not to. Paul, my friend, where can everyone find you online?
You can find Mysteries and Monsters across most social media sites and all good podcast aggregators.
Fabulous. I'm largely the truth on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. And you can find my horror fiction show, Fear Daily, everywhere fine podcasts live. And of course, it would hardly be Talk Spooky without a new song, Paul.
Ooh.
Yes, this time around we have a track I'm really excited to present because it is the artist's first album in 5 years. And this is from The Abyss. The Abyss was one of the synthwave artists like Vampire Stepdad that I discovered in sort of 2016, 2017-ish. And again, I was a fan. Albums like Centurion, Alpha Lobo, High Mountains, really good stuff. And then Steve took some time off. And now he is back with his brand new album, Chrome Plated Heartbeat. And unlike those other albums, he actually sings on this one. And he's really great. I really enjoyed this album. If you're a fan of synthwave, make sure to check it out. You can find more from The Abyss by following the link in the show notes or just by searching for The Abyss wherever you stream your music. Again, the album and the track we're going to be playing for you on this episode is called Chrome Plated Heartbeat, and you'll likely be hearing more from The Abyss on this show coming up because I really like this record. Steve's a good guy, and more folks need to hear what he's been cooking up these last 5 years.
Brilliant.
Yes, sir. All right, folks, thanks as always for joining us. We will be back next week with episode 221, and until then, we will leave you with The Abyss and Chrome Plated Heartbeat.